Hello everybody, I'm Clifford Stumby, the Pop Song Professor, and welcome to my channel where we make English class awesome by talking about song lyrics. Today we're talking about Never Really Over by Katy Perry, and we're going to be talking about the three categories of what she put out: the music video, the music itself, and the lyrics. We're going to be talking about why I don't think that this song is actually crap. I usually have a ton of fun ragging on Katy Perry's work, especially this whole so-called Witness era where all she put out was like these soft soap and sometimes just completely awful lyrics with cliched music and music videos that seemed like they were trying to say something but were so non-committal that it just about amounted to nothing every single time. And what made it worse was that she claimed and promised that it was going to be an era of purposeful pop, whatever that necessarily means to her, and nothing came of it. It was just all of these like vague metaphors and images and ideas that if you believed one thing, you could somehow twist it and imagine it that she agreed with you, and if you believed the other, you could do the exact same process. Well, thank the Lord, because in her new, whatever this era is going to be called, the Never Really Over song, she takes her foot off of the gas of trying to be a fake SJW and instead gives us what we want from Katy Perry, and that's just some freaking fun pop music, and she doesn't do a half bad job at it. Now, I think before, like, the criticisms that I really levied at her were like one of fakeness and hypocrisy, and now if I'm going to criticize anything, it's just going to be shallowness. But when somebody honestly is just trying to make pop music, you can only complain about how shallow it is for so long before you remind yourself that's kind of the point of pop music. It's just entertainment. We're just trying to have fun, and I think that's the thing that I like the most about what Katy Perry put out, is that she's not trying to pretend that it's something that it's not. So let's go ahead and jump into the different pieces here. The music video is basically her going to like this kind of woo-woo retreat where she's trying to get all sorts of like acupuncture and hot stone therapy and growing hearts in little bottles, just like all this kind of weird therapy stuff that's supposed to help her heal over a broken heart, which is symbolized by the half jagged, I guess it's on this hand, tattoo of a heart that's supposed to match up to the person that she loves. Apparently she wrote this song back in like 2017, 2018 while she was on tour, and I read some article somewhere that suggested that it could be slightly about Orlando Bloom, but as you know, with pop music, it's so like, you know, hacked away and whittled down that it's hardly about anything anymore, and it's meant to be something that's sort of vague that anybody can relate to. Yeah, and anybody who's had a past relationship that, you know, was on the rocks at some point can probably relate to this song. But essentially she goes to this therapy getaway place, she does all the therapy getaway things, lots of dancing in fields and weird freaking costumes, and she's healed or whatever, and at the end she's walking out and she sees, as the bus bringing the next load of people in comes in, she sees somebody's hand and it has the tattoo, and all of a sudden all the therapy is gone and she starts heading back in, which is a great way to make the point that it's never really over. And that's what she says in a press release. She basically explained this is about those relationships that, you know, we've all had them, good relationships, bad relationships, and there's always going to be a piece of that relationship in you, and it's always going to kind of shape who you are. As far as the style of the music video, I really don't care for it all that much. A lot of times what it seems Katy Perry does in her music videos is that it's style and form over actual content or story or character development. The story is very, very minimal and basic. You could probably do a supercut of like 10 seconds worth of the music video and understand the entire story being told. Other than that, it's just kind of funky costumes and people doing weird dances and just weird stuff. Like the hot rock therapy where they put the hot rocks on your back, it's like heart-shaped rocks and they leave like heart-shaped scars and whatever, and it's like, it's the kind of stuff that looks like it's supposed to have a deep metaphorical meaning, and there's gonna be like 50 kitty cats, her fan base, on Twitter going like, this was a metaphor for this and this was a metaphor for that, and this is so deep, it's blowing my mind. But it's really just her trying to make something that looks cool or looks like it could mean something, when really, even if it does mean something, it's just so basic and so shallow that it's not really worth diving into. So the music video wasn't my favorite part, but let's go ahead and move on to the lyrics. Listen to this. I'm losing my self-control. Yeah, you're starting to trickle back in, but I don't want to fall down the rabbit hole. Cross my heart, I won't do it again. I am sick and tired of people putting these cute little references to Alice in Wonderland. Lewis Carroll was a gosh dang genius, and nobody understands it. They just like gonna refer to rabbit holes and stuff and use all this Alice in Wonderland imagery, and I think that they need to actually go read the book, because if they did, it's so trippy, it would blow their minds. And it's a really good book. But that's my own little soapbox here. She gets into the chorus, 2 years and just like that, my head still takes me back. Thought it was done, but I guess it's never really over. And sure, I understand that. There's something that happens significantly in your life. In this case, it's an emotional relationship, and you just keep going back to it. And there's like that emotional connection that you still have, or that you imagine that you still have. Then the post-chorus, just because it's over doesn't mean it's really over. And if I think it over, maybe you'll be coming over again. And so this just kind of like this, oh hey, if I think about it, maybe it could happen, but if I think about it, it still hurts, and what do I do? I don't know, she just kind of develops that pretty well. It's a story that we've heard in pop music a lot before. The verse 2 is probably the most interesting stanza of all. I guess I could try hypnotherapy. I gotta rewire this brain because I can't even go to the internet without even checking your name. And this is interesting from a pop songwriting perspective because she's using like a lot of specifics there, whereas the rest of the song has been very, very vague and talking about abstract concepts. And so, you know, that was kind of a cool little analogy. The rest of the song is a lot of repetition of the lines that have come before, and it's good because it's not trying to be something that it's not. It's just trying to be a fun pop music talking about a cliched experience that most everybody has experienced and can somehow relate to in some imagined way as they go through this song. And that takes us to the music, which happens to be my favorite part of this entire project. I've always been a fan of Katy Perry's older stuff, as if you've watched any of my videos about Katy Perry, you know I'm not a fan of the Witness album, right? And I didn't really like the sound that went on there. It was kind of try hard, and I think on the music for this one, Katy Perry in some respects goes back to her old sound. It's got a little bit of that same vibe. I think vocally it sounds very similar. And then the post-chorus, the one where it feels like it's doing double speed and it's got like sort of this crazy 80s energy, is a lot of fun actually. Now I know this is probably the kind of song that I'm gonna get sick and tired of hearing it on the pop radio station, you know, 40 times a day, but oh well, I'll enjoy the sound while I can and try hard to not think too much about the lyrics. That's all I've got for you guys. I'd love to hear what you think about this song by Katy Perry. Don't forget to check out the top worst lyrics of 2017. Katy Perry shows up a couple of times on there. And this is my review of the Witness album if you want to go and understand the depth of my, you know, negative emotions towards Katy Perry. Katy, good job on this one to an extent. Talk to you guys later.